Pellicer and Heredia, your international lawyers based on the Costa Blanca, have been looking after the expat community for over a decade. Our high-quality webinars are free and informative, with regular guest speakers covering everything from wills and inheritance to residency and post-Brexit visa options. Find out when we're next going live at alicantelawyers.es.
As previously advertised, quite a bit, because I was looking forward to picking up again with Pellicer and Heredia, international lawyers based on the Costa Blanca, but travel around quite a bit. And Ignacio is here. Bienvenido de vuelta, as they say around Gato de Gorgos.
Yeah,
all right?
Bienvenido. Yes, back. We're back again. Yes,
yeah, I mean,
summer.
We took it off. We did a bit of July, and then we're not going to try and wade through July and August. You need some time off as well. I presume you did you? You got a bit of time, a bit of break?
Yeah, thank you for giving me a break. Yeah,
yeah, sure.
it was a summer it was a hot summer for us. You know, even though we use a lot of air conditioning as well and going on the sea. But yes, August we have to always relax and chill a little bit. You know, at least we try to go 2 to 3 weeks, but we rotate. And we always have people in the office.
Right, so there's still someone on duty.
Always.
Do the
always
courts carry on? Do the courts?
Well, the criminal court, yes, but the civil court closed down from the 1st of August to the 31st of August.
Right.
So it's like void. Is a null and void month for litigation, you know?
Yeah, sure.
And but yes, we are always having people on duty just in case.
Of course, yeah. Did you notice if they were sticking to the 27 degrees Celsius minimum or maximum on the air conditioning?
Yeah, well, actually, the 27, I think it was pretty much for the administration and for the public sector. But now it's better. September is nice and October even better.
Yes, of course. So, I mean, you've been back at it for a while now. So what sort of things are coming up? You're dealing with visas. And what's the most common thing at the moment if you're dealing with maybe foreign nationals?
Well, at the moment, obviously, if people are looking for relocation, we always stick with the visa thing. The visa thing, it will depend on nationality. That's important. And the good thing as well is a lot of people, Moody, are, let's say, Irish. A lot of people are European, and therefore they could still get their residency, the green one. Do you remember the green one? Mm-hmm. And if they're married, the husband could or wife could take the benefit of that. That's much easier, much simple. You know, you still stick to the 9,000 euros in 3 months, being in the padron, etc., and nothing to do with the visa requirements, because, you know, they're quite high and strong.
Yeah, sure. No, that's the point. I hadn't thought of that, because EU national, I mean, Irish, you know, if they're in the south there, they're EU nationals. So they wouldn't have the card, would they? Because that was under the withdrawal agreement. No, so it's just the old residency.
With Ireland, we carry on the same. And there is a lot of clients that they're married to an Irish couple. And therefore, things much obviously doesn't have anything to do. You know, it's completely easier for them, which I'm happy for them, because the stress with the consulate in your home country, getting the appointment in London or Manchester, you know, all these things, plus getting everything in place, plus the requirements. But I still tell clients, I mean, you could still use the 3 months. You know, you could still come on holidays for 3 months, go back. The 180 days rule, so 3 months without the 180. So you still could avoid having the visa, you know. But it's a bit annoying if people wants to be counting the days and all these things.
Yes, I know a lot of people are doing that. There's a few people that get in touch with us here throughout the day. They say, "Oh yeah, we're coming back next week. We're rationing our 90 days per 180."
Yeah, that's the only inconvenience on that. Then after that, a lot of clients, Moody, they're applying for non-lucrative visa, especially if you're retiring or you are working remotely, but there is a discrepancy between the courts and the consulates, you see. I always say we managed to get a sentence, a long time ago, which non-lucrative visa means that you're not allowed to work for a Spanish company. You're allowed to work for a different outside company, you know, a foreign company. But however, if you go to the consulate in your home country, Spanish consulate, they will say, no, you need to deregister from Social Security and deregister from working. But you don't need a fight and an argument because you need a visa. So we normally recommend clients say, okay, go for that, deregister, and later on it's completely legal to work remotely from Spain for an American company, a British company, or whatever, and you pay your taxes here and everything. Now it's going to be coming a Nomad Visa very soon, hopefully January.
All eyes on this. So you think it'll be early next year?
Yes. The benefit from that will be taxation.
Yeah.
But for me, the non-lucrative visa and the Nomad Visa are going to be pretty much the same, because you could still have a non-lucrative visa and still work for abroad, remotely. I'm talking. With a Nomad Visa, you're going to work remotely anyway. But the taxation, I believe, I still don't know the final statement, will be probably a flat tax, like 24% flat, or something like the Beckham law, something similar. It's going to come through, but we'll see. We're waiting. We're queuing.
Yeah, sure. Yes, and it's long awaited that. So I don't know if it's gone ahead a bit further in maybe Portugal. Portugal's really catching up, isn't it, with people moving there?
They went fast. They went fast because they need the investment. They need the money, and and here in Spain is being a bit more laid back on all these requirements with the visa. We carry on doing exactly the same as we did for the non-Europeans, like the Americans, the Russians, the Chinese.
That wasn't a brand new thing, was it?
No, it was
not. For any third countries.
Exactly the same. I mean, you're not part of the club anymore, therefore your group is the non-European countries, and that's what they've done. Now, as well, we've been having a lot of golden visas as well, especially people with a budget that they sell their home country, Americans as well, and they sell. And they have the funds, and they just say, well, I'd rather go and get the golden visa as long as the property in this area in Javi is not difficult to find 500,000 euros property.
Yeah.
And they've been for that as well. So we've been busy with the visas all the time, but the investment and the purchase of a property and the due diligence is continuously, it's not something that buying a property in Spain, it needs its time, I mean, you need to pick the right property, you need to do all the due diligence, and then your lawyer needs to give you the okay for the transaction. Sometimes, it's no good.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, about people hunting down a property in Spain and how you have to kind of rein them in a little bit and say, look, just make sure you get that checked and that checked. Don't rush into it, even though you want to get over here and move in there. There's lots to go over.
Yeah, I have a client now that we failed 3 times already. Well, failing means that the property did not meet the requirements, did not meet the legalities, and we had to advise not to buy. It's a bit exhausting, but when you really want an area, and the area is not the most legal area, then it's very hard to find the right property with the right price and with the right paperwork, you see.
Yeah.
So I suggest to find for more areas as well, instead of falling into the same situation. But this is important, It's important that people don't put any money down until everything is correct. So we've been busy with that as well. These 2 things are the most busiest now, and because tax is out of the way at the moment.
That's right, yes. That came at end of June.
Yeah.
But, it must be tough, that, when someone set their sights on the thing, though, and they really want this property.
I know.
That's the one, that's for us.
Yeah, I know. It's frustrating, isn't it?
It's your job to step in and say, no, I don't do it.
Yeah.
How do you break that to them?
The good thing is there is a big variety in Spain of properties. And there is a lot of possibilities, The thing is, the more you know, the better, because probably you're willing to invest on a plot of land and build it yourself. It's a different nightmare.
Yeah.
But that's a good way of doing it your taste, your way, and the right price. Sometimes probably the cheapest is when you buy a very old villa and then you refurbish yourself. You say probably then you do your taste. Or if you have the budget off plan, and they have it built, and less hassle for you. So it's a variety here.
Yes, and I think it's still the case, even though prices have gone up here, that for what you sell maybe in the UK, especially if you're in London or something, it'll buy you a lot more over here. Bigger villa and with a pool and all of that. So people still realising that and going for it.
Yes, and there are many areas, Moody. I mean, you may fall in love with one area, but probably that price is not the right price for you. And you could go, these areas got a price, the other area has a different price and is a budget. And quality of life. Some people want amenities very close to their homes. Some people want to live far inland.
With no neighbours.
Yeah, with no anybody there.
This is me you're talking to. Yeah. I'd be all over that if I could do. Do any areas, I know this isn't really your area, you're not a real estate agent, but any areas sort of coming up and becoming more popular?
Yes.
I've always thought that Castellón might sort of rise up at some point because it's on the coast and it's, perhaps away from the busier bits.
Right. Well, it's not as popular as...
What happened to the airport there, by the way?
Yeah.
That little folly. I don't know if it's still open.
I think people... Well, the weather's... Obviously, people might prefer, different areas for different weather. I even had clients saying they study the weather of this city like an average to know that is a perfect place to be, playing golf or whatever. Castellón is always a bit colder than this area here, Costa Blanca, a little bit.
I'm just thinking the prices might be lower if it's not as popular, obviously.
And it's not, yes. And if it's more Spaniards,
yes, then you want to do
that's
that,
the budget for them, So from a purchase price point of view, it depends on demand and the kind of clientele. If in Castellón it's more Spanish, definitely.
Yeah.
And the prices will be not touristic, not touristic. However, in different areas there is a lot of foreigners as well, but you get good prices because things and property are very cheap. And you've got big variety. You could buy nowadays, Moody, you could even buy in the centre of Alicante a property of 60,000 euros and refurbish it yourself, making 200, even rent it out when you don't live there. So as an investment, I think it's great. But you can still do the same in different areas like Torrevieja and all these things because prices are very, very, very good as well. Or you could have another option to invest it into a villa.
Yeah.
And you have all kind of investments. You have probably, if you're like a risky investor or you're a businessman, probably you will buy from the courts.
Right, what, a repossession?
Yes, repossessions, which you always will get the best deal.
Yeah.
Other option you have is to buy from individuals. So you've got, I think, still people could find their property. There is a budget for everyone, I think. I always say it's very personal. What is good for you might not be good for me, or the other way around. I want to be out of the country. I want to be, inside. Or
it depends maybe on your age as well.
On your age.
A little bit quieter.
Yeah, if you need health centres very close, Some people say I prefer to have close to all these amenities,
And banks too.
And banks.
They seem to be closing down at a fair rate of knots. I'll tell you what, you've touched on the Golden Visa there. We'll talk about that more in just a moment. And somebody's come through. It's someone who's been in touch before but never puts their name on the WhatsApp. I don't know who it is, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'll let you answer anyway. If you have a Golden Visa, can you stay in Spain as long as you like? Yes,
the answer straight away is that you could stay as much as you like, but you need to do your tax homework, which means if you stay more than in a calendar year, more than 6 months, then you are more than 183 days in Spain, you'll have to do your taxation in Spain. So that gives you possibility of being non-resident or resident. And the Golden Visa will allow your dependents as well to have access with this visa. So that means husband and wife, and children.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's always important. I always recommend clients, when you buy a property, if we're talking about buying property, because it's not the only way to get a Golden Visa, and that's what we're going to talk today in the webinar, you will have to have the property in one name, and then the other ones will be the beneficiaries. Okay, obviously it's important later on or the same day to make a will, okay, because when you have it only one name, it's good for the Golden Visa, but if anything happens, you need to have a will. That's something important. Now, you could still invest €1 million in public debt, 2 million euros in public debt, 1 million euros in stocks, Spanish stocks options. Yeah. There is a way of companies applying for a Golden Visa. So we did represent companies because they were creating projects, interesting projects for good for the economy. Actually, it was I think you call it a filmmaker or
right.
Production, and they got the Golden Visa for the whole team. So
that's interesting.
Yes.
Because it is about that. It's not just, we always look at the property. Yeah, it's 500,000 euros, but it's investment in the country. It's investment
in the country.
Yeah.
And yes, even for companies who even buy properties, so foreign companies, obviously you need to be the administrator of the company, have full power of that. It's a bit more complex, but yes, we did for companies as well, golden visas. And it's quite a, I mean, depends on budget if we're talking about properties, and that's the main decision.
Yes, but it's 1 times 500,000, so you can't have two people sharing that amount. It's, as you say, it's in one name.
It's in one name.
Worth bearing in mind.
And we have the situation, Moody, here that some people invested, unfortunately, long time ago, but that doesn't count because it only counts after 2013. Yeah. So it needs a lot of planning, but we could discuss it with them, what probably is the best way forward. All the appointments are being, Moody, now very multidisciplinary appointments. So you talk about the visas, you talk about the taxation, you talk about the investment. So they're very productive appointments we have with clients because it's not a yes or no answer. Sometimes you need to see their specific situation to give them advice. Yes, it's not going to be one size fits all, is it? You talk to them personally. But that's the thing you can do. If someone's moving over, you're doing pretty much everything for them. You can do it all in one hit, as you say. Yeah. And we're busy with that, with the relocation pretty much and planning, And I think that's the best thing to do because some people, if they didn't do nowadays, I think you pretty much must do your homework. It's very difficult not doing homework and come over here and then start from zero. But I still see some crazy situation where they come with a tourist visa and then, they need to start things. Yeah, I think sometimes you think like that. It used to work. It used to be okay where you say, well, we'll get there first and then we'll see what's around and start doing it. But no, you need to do a bit more in advance. A little bit more, a little bit more. Even though it's not a problem because you could come as a tourist, start renting. But you still, if you are from a non-European country, you need to apply from the Spanish consulate for the visas. But yes, an inspection trip is always good. So, but can things add up to a certain limit? All your combined investments. Yes. So that goes. Yeah, it's not just one thing. Like you said, 1 million or 2 million in stocks. Correct. Can you do a bit of that, and then it adds up to a certain amount? Correct. That would qualify you. Yes. It's got to be in Spanish companies. Yes. So that's a requirement. So let's say if you have some shares with let's say the most popular companies in Spain, for example, that's one option. Yes, and as you say, it's not that everyone it'll just work the same. There are specifics you need to talk to them about. But you must be getting into the swing of doing these visas now with the golden visa. You must have done quite a few already. Since they were introduced. Yeah. We are. We've got a team already of 4 people specifically on immigration. So we're very comfortable. We always have Connie goes every day to Extranjeria, but it doesn't matter where it's Alicante, it could go Denia, it could go Benidorm, it could Torrevieja. So we're very used to it, and it's not an easy thing because getting the NI appointments is very, very difficult. Getting the TI appointments for the fingerprint now is being difficult. It's not that straightforward. It's not that straightforward. But anyway, but it depends. Yes, if you're starting from scratch, I suppose. I did the easy bit because I'd already got the old residency, so a straight swap was easy enough. Yes, a little bit more involved when you're coming in from brand new. And we'll talk about the health insurance as well, which is key for it. You need to have one person 27,000 euros in the account. If you're a couple, 34,000 euros. To be, we have all these requirements. It's a good job I was doing the straight swap because that would have, I don't know where I got that from. Just a very quick thing because we're running out of time. The one bit of prep I did for this, I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll ask Ignacio about landlords and renting because it's there have been laws come in where you're not allowed to chuck people out on the streets straight away and that sort of thing. How much do you deal with, any grievances with landlords and tenants? Right. In general terms, this will be, if we're talking about a contract and civil law, then the eviction needs to go through the courts, right? And then if you need eviction, then it unfortunately takes time. The good thing is if they don't pay, at the end of the day, they're going to have a day to be evicted, you see. And if you don't leave, the police will go. Unfortunately, that's not straightforward. You know, that needs to be dealt with the courts, and probably could take even 3 months or even more, depending on the courts. If we're talking about what you call it, squatters.
Yes, yeah.
That is criminal, and that goes different road, you know, different. But things could be twisted, you know, things could be difficult and not as fast as one person wants, you know.
Because you're saying, unfortunately, there, like, because it's from the side of the landlord, a lot of people would maybe take the tenant side, but being the landlord and renting out, it's no walk in the park. There's all sorts of problems come up, especially with bad tenants, and then sometimes you're stuck about kicking them out. And
the problem, I think, that's one of the reasons sometimes the renting increases, because if a landlord is having all day long problems, what's going to end up is either selling the property or not renting it out, or just raising the rent. And I think the rent did increase in Spain a lot as well. Yeah, because of these problems, you know, people not willing to go through the hassle. You don't need the hassle to have all these. There are ways you could avoid it, like having an insurance for your tenant or having a bank guarantee as well. But probably it's not that easy. Or another option you have is to do it touristic. If your area is, the laws allow you to do touristic, so come in and out, but you need somebody to run it because it's tiring, you know. Not everybody wants to all that kind of work. No,
the changeovers and all that.
You know, and But yes.
But a lot of it will come down to the contract you have between the two of you. Like, if they get, at the moment, with everything getting more expensive, can they just hike the rent up at will?
Well, it depends on the contract. It depends on the contract. I think the IPC, for sure, if the contract has been done properly, the increase of the price of the money, definitely. Which they could update it. Every contract normally says that from the 1st of January you could increase the rent.
Right.
Okay. Whether they do or not, that's probably part of the business and negotiation with a tenant. Yes,
and a lot of the time it comes down to your relationship with them. Some people, I hear people moaning and say, my landlord's a nightmare, and mine's great, I have to say. No problems at all. Been a breeze so far.
You need to be lucky as well.
Well, yes, exactly. Yeah, it depends who you get, but I've been there a long time. But thanks ever so much for coming in. Good to have you back. Yes. And to say the webinar later on then at 4:30 mainland Spain time. If you want to register through the website alicantelawyers.es, you get to ask questions and that. Otherwise, you can just view it at will.
Yes.
And it'll be up on there to watch back from tomorrow. Yeah. And we'll see you, if not you or Pedro, in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
Whether you've been in Spain for 6 months or 6 years, don't miss Pellicer and Heredia in conversation with Moody on BayRadio every other Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pellicer and Heredia are your international lawyers on the Costa Blanca and have been looking after the expat community for more than a decade. See more at alicantelawyers.es.